Hi, everybody. My name is Matt Hames, and I'm the Associate Vice President for Digital and Social Strategy at 3 Enrollment Marketing and a speaker at the Institute for Higher Education. Today, I'm joined by Dr. Audrey Tang. She was at the Institute last year to huge raves, and she is going to be joining us this year again at the Institute. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience last year and what you're thinking about for this year?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Matt. It was such a wonderful experience last year. I'm from a mental health background, which means we're always talking about retreats. We've got writing retreats, we've got yoga retreats, we've got relaxation retreats. And I had never been on an educational retreat. Being out there, seeing the mountains, being one with nature, having literally a fireside chat by a fire. It was absolutely incredible. It was such a wonderful opportunity to meet people, to chat, to learn about each other, and of course, impart knowledge. So it was just such a fantastic experience. And I'm very much looking forward to coming back. And this year, I'm bringing a little bit of a twist. I used to run an escape room, and I have a tabletop, I'd say a strategy session that we're going to run. And one of the puzzles might be a little bit similar to this. So whilst we're having this chat, whilst Matt and I are chatting, do have a think about what goes in that gap there. What might go in that gap there? What image might go in that gap? But that's just one of the things I've been doing. I'm hoping to do a little bit more of the public speaking, which was so enjoyable for me as well. I know I do public speaking in a slightly different way. The way I do it is I hear you speak, and then I work to bring out the best in you. It's not a case of, yes, there's some obvious tips and tools such as projection and what to do with your hands, but it's all about you being authentically you and being the best you can be. So I'm really excited to be back.
And I'm excited to have you back too. We're so excited. And it's such nice things that you say about the Institute, because the Institute was designed to be a place to get away. So it's designed to be a way. And this year's Institute, you can see the image behind, is in the mountains again in Beaver Creek, Colorado. It is easy to get to, and it's designed to be easy to get away. So higher education professionals are going to get to hear a bunch of speakers, a bunch of people who understand the industry, but then they're also going to get to hear you. Talk a little bit more about just presentation skills and what you think and how you can help people.
Well, the two things I'm going to be doing are, the first is presentation skills. And that is simply, as I said earlier, it's about bringing out the best authentic you. And this is not just about saying, oh, have an opener that works, or have 3 key messages that you want to put across and have a mic drop ending. Yes, those things are important, but it's the way you present. For some people, it might be simply just coming in and talking like this. As you can see, I always stand up whenever I do these sorts of interviews. But for others, it might actually be coming and sitting down and actually having a one-to-one kind of feel to that chat with other people. And it's about understanding what works for you and what brings you across the best. Because I know so much of the work of higher education is with meeting people and engaging with people. And then the other thing I'm doing with this little escape room idea is to think about how you work as a team, because this is something we don't often really reflect on in a live situation. So what people will say to me whenever I run this session is they will go, oh, yeah, teams are really important. You need to be motivating. You need to praise each other. You need to help each other out. They'll give me everything. And we're going to have it all written down on the board, all of the things that you need to be to have a good team. And then I give you this escape room situation, and it's a timed situation. You have to solve a problem within, I would say 40 minutes, but no one's really done it in under an hour. So I might extend the time. So you've got that time pressure. You've got a lot of different things that you need to do. And suddenly, when I watch all those groups compete with each other to try and solve this puzzle, what you end up seeing is there's no praise. Yeah. There's no way motivation. There's just a lot of panic or a lot of trying to pick locks, or trying to really focus on one particular thing to the exclusion of everything else. And being able to give you that feedback in real time. This is how you may perform under pressure. How does that play out in your day-to-day life? That can give you so many insights into how you work as a team. When I've done this with corporate organizations, what people have said, I've seen one person literally spend the whole hour trying to pick one lock, which meant their team was down that one person for the whole game. And when I brought this up and I just said, so how does that play out? She said to me, oh my goodness, actually, I can get so caught up on what font I'm using on invitations, I forget to send the invitations out in the first place.
Right.
And those sorts of insights are really helpful, but it's a safe environment. There's no consequence if you get it wrong. There's no consequence I might point and laugh at you, but there is no other consequence if you fail to do the task.
When I worked at a university, we did a scenario planning, and I still have nightmares from it. And it was partly because of the time. We only had a certain amount of times, and the things that kept coming at us. We learned so much about how to work together. And I know that it's not easy for higher education professionals to have scenario planning. So this kind of, fun scenario planning can be such a good learning experience for people.
Absolutely.
I'm super excited. I'm super excited for it. So you're coming, you're presenting during the Institute for Higher Education. What would you say to people who think, escape room, I'm not really sure. Maybe I'll just have a longer breakfast that morning. What's your pitch to that?
I think you might find you learn a lot about yourself in a safe space. Now, the reason I use scenario planning, the style, the escape game is not as, I guess, serious as a scenario planning situation may be. But you learn a lot about you. You learn a lot about other people. And what's really lovely is you learn to recognize other skills. So it's a real reflection time. What we see whenever I do this is, because all the puzzles involved in this particular task are so varied and so different, some people just think in that particular way for that puzzle, but not a different puzzle. And you see people who are so quiet and who don't say much suddenly come out of themselves and start saying, well, I can do this. And they're heard and they're listened to. And we recognize the bits that we might lack and the bits where we can learn from other people. So it's a great way of bringing teams together. The other thing I always say about escape rooms, or using this sort of scenario immersive learning, is that I could teach a session on Teams. I could teach a session, a very theoretical session, but that would only ever be as good as your description of the team situation. I wouldn't have the chance to see it myself. I wouldn't necessarily know if you're a reliable narrator or not, but in a scenario where I can watch the behavior take place and I can see what happens, and it's a lot of fun at the same time, the feedback is a lot more meaningful.
Dr. Tang is so worth even just coming to the Institute for this. There'll be a link below this to register and a link to find out more about her. Thank you so much for being a speaker again. Backed by popular demand, huge hit last year. Can't wait to see it this year. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thanks, Matt. Okay. Well, for those of you who have been thinking about this particular puzzle, what goes in here? Well, I shall draw it for you. It is what looks like an 8. And why? Because this is a reflected 1. This is a reflected 2. If you put a mirror down the middle, this is a reflected 4. And therefore this is a reflected 3. And it's going to be a few puzzles like that, a few puzzles to suit everybody. And I really look forward to seeing you at the Institute in 2025.